Good afternoon, guys. We're all sparkly. It's been a great day so far. I woke up, watched the sunrise, did my breath work, went down to the sea to do cold water therapy with the cold water alchemists. I've been to the gym, I've run the dogs, and I'm just about to eat some food. So I have well and truly earned my reward. So, lots of people are struggling out there. Why? Well, lots of reasons, but essentially it's a bit of a perverse world. Perverse world. So what can you do to maximize your chances of maintaining healthy hormone levels, which is obviously the focus of what we do here at the Men's Health Clinic. We help you attain and maintain healthy male androgen levels for long-term physical and psychological well-being. So when you've got low testosterone, your mood is often dysregulated. So, despite your best efforts, you cannot attain a sense of well-being and normality because you've got hormonal dysregulation. That may manifest as low mood, anxiety, depersonalization, lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, or the list goes on. Now, this has happened as a result of lots of reasons. Not normally just one. You might have a pathology, but I'm sure as damn it going to say you are not leading the perfect lifestyle. Now, should you need to lead the perfect lifestyle to maintain healthy male androgen levels? Well, I would kind of say yeah. Now, we've all made mistakes, numerous mistakes. Lots of people have engaged in recreational drug use, alcohol use, opiate use, anabolic steroids. They've led more of a stressful life, as in psychologically stressful life compared to physically stressful life. And some of you have actually, you've got low testosterone because you've been too physical. The paradox, we say lifestyle, diet, exercise. But it's all about what? Our favorite word here at the Men's Health Clinic, balance, anabolic versus catabolic. So if you are persistently and consistently catabolic without giving your body the chance to recover, anabolism, then you can, yes, you can drive yourself into low testosterone. So we do say physical exercise with caution, because when you have low testosterone, paradoxically, it can be deleterious to your testosterone level. So you can see now it gets rather complicated. So let's break it down. I quite like to use the seesaw analogy. On one side, you've got your stimulatory neurotransmitters, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, your hormone. That is keeping you alive. That is firing all the time. And on the other side, you've got your calming anabolic hormones, testosterone, DHT, and estradiol, and your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest, relaxation, social engagement part, which we're all seeking. What are we seeking? Yeah, you guessed it. We're desperately seeking dopamine. So you should have a good seesaw. You should be able to experience highs and experience lows. When you need to react, you should have the capacity to react. And when you need to relax, you should have the capacity to relax. And that comes in part through having healthy hormone levels. Hormone levels, as I've said numerous times before, are merely the foundation. The rest is up to you. So when we think about managing stress, what do? Well, lots of us engage in self-destructive activities because you get a dopamine hit, and we're desperately seeking dopamine. And what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be taking the path of least resistance for maximum reward. Well, in theory, yes, but you should realize now in modern society that is deleterious to our long-term health. So we should be what? Yeah, you guessed it, earning our reward. So how do you do that? Well, how are you going to manage that psychological stress that releases the same neurotransmitters and hormones that physical stress does, but does not lead to the same reward? As you guys may have guessed, we are into breath work, cold water therapy, and we realized that the dopamine hit you get from that is truthful. It is not clouded by nonsense. The foundations of our being are our physical and psychological well-being, which comes from physiology, and looking to optimize our physiology with an understanding of psychology and understanding of physiology. It's quite simple, really, but we're distracted by the bullshit. So what do we need to do when we're stressed? Go back to basics. And what's the most basic thing that you do? Yeah, breathe. Crazy, isn't it? You can manipulate your physiology and your psychology by using breath. What do most people do? They comfort eat, because eating gives comfort. But that dopamine hit that you then get chunky, not hunky. And when you get chunky, you create too much estrogen, and that estrogen feeds back to the hypothalamus and pituitary and sends less LH and FSH down to the testicles. You produce less testosterone, you have less drive, less determination, you do less, you eat more, and you can see how this vicious cycle continues and propagates. Sad, but true. So, disappointingly, these people that engage in negative self-destructive behaviors are not going to see the reward because they've put no effort in. Now, break the drugs down. If you're an idiot and you're taking ecstasy, you are dumping your serotonin, this happiness neurotransmitter that is not supposed to be high all the time. Because if it was high all the time, you wouldn't do anything. There'd be no drive and determination or motivation to do anything because you'd be happy, which is the reason why antidepressants have limited efficacy, because you're supposed to be able to react accordingly to highs and lows. Now, we know that estrogen raises serotonin, but what is physiology about? What is consciousness about? The subjective appreciation of subtle changes in physiology. So what do we want to do? Have normal levels so that they can still react. Cocaine. Dopamine. Again, you are literally going to fry your dopamine receptors. And they don't want to be fried. You will get down regulation. Some of the guys that really struggle on TRT are the guys that have used opiates. And again, guess what they've done? They have literally fried their dopamine receptors. How disappointing. The endorphins, that calmness, that serenity that they might get from opiates ultimately causes a deleterious effect on their psychological and physical health. Shock horror, what a surprise. It's not really a surprise, is it? If you distort your physiology, that is going to have a negative impact on your physical and psychological well-being. This really isn't rocket science, but we're the only species that deliberately distorts its physiology, which causes a negative impact on psychology. And you have to pay the price. Booze. Booze. Oh my word. It is everywhere. Now, what does it do? It dulls consciousness. Again, releases endorphins. It suppresses glutamate. And what does glutamate do? It's an excitatory neurotransmitter. So what happens when you no longer are under the influence of alcohol? Your glutamate receptors go, they fire back up, and you get anxiety as a result of excess stimulation of this excitatory neurotransmitter. And I would hypothesize this is because you're supposed to go, what the hell has happened? Now, every other species on this planet is busy doing what? Surviving. Now, because we don't need to survive, because we live in a very safe world, we manifest nonsense and we believe it to be real, but it's not real, it's nonsense. So what should we be doing? We should not be distorting our consciousness by taking illicit substances and prescribed substances that dull consciousness. Now, if you do that, hopefully with an understanding and awareness of the effects of that, the effects will not be as catastrophic as if you took them voluntarily and you didn't know what was going on. So our conscious appreciation of our physiology can allow our psychology not to freak out. This is partly why the Wim Hof breathing is so incredibly interesting. You are essentially hyperventilating, creating a stressful state. But because it's conscious, your brain can cope and adapt. And actually it's beneficial to your immunity and psychological well-being. But if you have a stimulus that is unknown to you and your immediate response is panic, that is harmful because your brain can't conceptualize and analyze and rationalize what's going on. So you have this awful reaction. So healthy hormone levels, they merely serve as the foundation. What you need to do is concentrate on stress reduction. And I would advocate cold water therapy, breath work, meditation if you've got time. I haven't got the time for that. I have tried it, but I'm not very good at it. But it's practice. Yes, practice makes perfect. So yeah, perhaps I should have it on the go. You should not engage in risky behaviors. Or if you do engage in risky behaviors, understand the consequences. You should look to improve sleep hygiene. Wake up the same time every day. You should look to have a healthy diet that's appropriate to your needs, because obviously your physiology and requirements are different to mine. I'm a massive proponent of intermittent fasting for the reason, what are you supposed to do when you wake up with your high testosterone and high cortisol? You're supposed to be active. To earn your what? Yeah, you guessed it, your reward, which is what? Yeah, you guessed it, food. I like a low carb, high fat, me personally, but obviously not everybody's the same. You need to do what? Exercise. So if you've got low testosterone, really low testosterone, that actually can be counterproductive. But if you've got slightly low testosterone, it can be productive. I hope you can now see why it's so incredibly important to look to your markers, your quantitative markers, look to the things that you can positively impact, and then place your trust in somebody that knows what they're doing. Because I don't want to give you TRT. TRT doctor doesn't want to give TRT unless you actually need it, because you won't feel the benefits of TRT unless you actually need it. Because to feel the benefits of TRT, this foundation hormone, you are going to have to put the hard work in to achieve that dopamine reward. Desperately seeking dopamine.